an opportunity. Now this is one of those moments, right, where I say, who has any questions? Everybody goes, I like the pattern on the rug, it's really interesting. Right? And unless you're like under 30. Under 30, probably that's okay, it doesn't matter. You're born in America, you're American. So, we didn't plant anybody. Like, we might even, like, plant Alice, raise her hand or something later. Maybe Tracy's fearless, she'll raise the first question. I've been thinking about it. So, or Helen's going to ask us a question and get us going, right? And everybody else is afraid. I don't want to ask you. So, any questions? Here we go. See? Americans can do that. Okay. Go ahead. You can ask to either one of us.
That's usually the first question out of everybody when we talk about being filial. My parents abused me my whole life. Why should I be filial to them? But
no joke.
That's true. I mean, it's a very big problem, especially today. And the answer to that is you still were born, you still have a large brain, you're a human, not an animal, and that's what you need to thank them for. You don't need to thank them for their abuse. In fact, if you have the skill and ability to change their abuse, fine. If you don't, then you can pray for that. You can recite for that. You can help cross them over later. But you should not hate them. You should not, even no matter how abusive they are. It's hard, there's no question about it. But ultimately, you still owe them. Why do you owe them? Because they gave you life. They gave you life as a human with a large brain, capable of cultivating you. Even though they're horrible to you, they still, especially your mother, has given you this life to do that. And for that, you owe them. Believe it or not, you still owe them.
So the question was, what if your parents are not, their lifestyle is not worthy of respect if it involves intoxicants or substances like that? And of course, we don't, if it's a toxic relationship, the idea of being filial is not say, go back and embrace them, No, not that. What about your parents are gone? Right? What if your parents are gone? You want to be filial. The Chinese had that saying, the tree wants to be still, but the wind is blowing. The child wants to be filial, but the parents are gone. My father died when I was 19, before I met Buddhism. So what do you do then? You want to be filial, you want to connect to those roots. Each one of us has in us the potential to be a father or a mother. And if you know the yin-yang, the white has the black dot, and the black has the white dot. We have the seed of the other gender in us. And if you think about our parents, they were children of our grandparents. And those grandparents were children of grandparents. Of course, on and on. Children may come from us, right? If you're a monk, it's not going to happen, or a nun. But we have the potential to generate another generation. So this is just this flow of energy. Now we have this body. We've heard the Dharma. We are not victims of abuse. We are participants in relationships. And if we've been hurt, one way to think about it is, was it a two-way street? Could I potentially have hurt them at some point in our long-running relationship, that came back to me? If so, how important is it to say, I'm not going to carry it on. I'm not going to return abuse with abuse. In fact, I'm going to embody it and say, I wish you well. May this relationship return to neutral, if not benefit. How many human beings are there in the world who I was not born to? Most of them, right? So how about the one that I was born to who is this toxic relationship? Why that? Well, that's what we did this time. It came to me. I want to end it and bring it back to neutral. I would like to benefit, to repay the kindness relationship that I got from them. So that's a lot of work. So if I'm a victim, then I'm always that age. They're always bigger than me, and I'm, sad and pathetic. If I say, that was what happened, I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to recite for them, pray for them, bow for them, be good, do good in their name, to put some energy in the credit side instead of the debit side of this relationship. Maybe when I meet them next time, we won't even recognize each other. Maybe I'll see them and they'll think, oh, there's my loving mother, my father. So with this, it becomes proactive. You're empowered to do something about it other than say, I got hurt. Right? That happened when we were small and they were big. Now we're not so small anymore. We are able to make choices. So it's a positive way of looking at it. Furthermore, there's a paternal side in me and a maternal side, and a maternal side in a woman and a paternal side that can father others, can be an authority, can be strong, can be firm, can shape like a father does. And I want that to be free of any toxic stuff. So I promise not to do what was done to me, which is really hard to not just keep the pattern running, So that's a powerful thing. So if indeed somebody says, we repay parents' kindness, and I say, man, you don't know my old man, he's an SOB. You say, right, but, I don't want to be an SOB in turn. We imitate the models we were shown, right? We become what we behold. That's the phrase, right? So I don't want to be that way. I've learned not to do it. I'm not a helpless victim. 6 years old, my mother's my dad. I can choose not to do it. Furthermore, I'm gonna be a good father myself in whatever way I nurture things. And further, when I meet my parents again, I want it to be neutral or wholesome. So that's going to take a lot of work. Go to work. Okay, make sense? Yeah. More than just victim. Next. Hi. Yes. Let's see. Okay. Go for it.
I can only talk about how I look at it, which is pretty small, but happiness is attaining the way. In Buddhism, it's called returning home. Returning home to your real nature. To me, that's real happiness. To return to who you really are. We all of us have this beautiful nature in us. Believe it or not, we do. We have this Buddha nature. That was the first noble truth for the Buddha himself when he woke up. He said, oh, wow, all living beings have this nature. Not just me. All living beings do. Not even human. Not just humans. All sentient beings do. And that, to me, is the only way I can look at happiness.
So, this is Denise's question, right? Okay, Denise asked about happiness and what's the Buddhist view. Again, I can't answer for Buddhism, but I can answer as a Buddhist. You could really go on and on about that and be really poetic, and you'd be right. But if you want to create happiness, the shortest answer is give. Okay, there's a sutra that we pay a lot of attention to called the Avatamsaka, the Lion Sutra. And there's a chapter in there called the 10 Practices. And the first practice is the practice of happiness. It's called Huanxi Heng. And what is it all about? It's about giving. And last night I talked about the faces of parents on Christmas and birthdays. when we as kids, everybody in this culture on Christmas and birthdays got gifts, kids are happy. New bike, new iPhone, new BMW, happy. And nobody thinks about the faces of the parents. But if you look at the parents, they're the ones who created the opportunity. Okay, if you have special food that you really like and you get to go out and eat that food, you're happy as long as the meal glow lasts, right? But if you give your life in service, then every opportunity of giving is an opportunity to be happy, and it's bottomless well. It's endless. Every time you give, there's happiness there. Instead of simply eating a good meal, it's over, it's gone away, I'm not happy anymore because the food's gone. Right? Well, start giving. Proof of that, we have a restaurant in the Bay Area called Karma Kitchen. And it began first in LA, Seva Kitchen, and then people hear about it and Seva Kitchen. So it's a pay-it-forward restaurant. And if you go to that restaurant, when you're done with your meal, the bill comes, it says 000. And you don't pay for your meal. So it was already paid for. Somebody paid for your meal. And you are invited, should you care to, make an offering of whatever to pay for the meal of someone else. Come. And that simple act of not buying food to eat, but feeding someone else, creates a very different atmosphere. Everyone who eats at Karma Kitchen says it's the best meal they've ever eaten. Not necessarily because of the food is good, but it's the sauce on the food of generosity and giving. You realize that you're supporting somebody else's experience of being fed. And the energy in that restaurant is huge. It's just astounding how happy people are by giving at mealtime instead of simply consuming at mealtime. That's a very different answer than